D
Yes, I am sharing.
Annoys me, and I'll tell you why in just a moment, but let me start with a slightly controversial statement. Everybody, everywhere, should be considered vitamin D deficient. It's true, vitamin D deficiency is the most common vitamin deficiency across the world. So it's an important healthcare topic we need to take seriously. For the past 13 years as a doctor, I've helped people achieve their health goals. And today, what I want to cover is why vitamin D is so important, how to know if you're actually deficient, and how to make sure you get enough. So why does it annoy me? Well, picture this. You go to your doctor and this is what they say. I need to tell you something. Smoking is bad for you and can cause lung cancer and heart disease. No shock, right? But what if they said this? I need to tell you something. Vitamin D deficiency is increasing your risk of autoimmune disease, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, neurocognitive dysfunction. Most people's reaction is, wait, what? Current guidelines are that everybody should be taking vitamin D. But why is it that we all know we should wear a seatbelt when we're driving? We all know that smoking and alcohol is bad. But so many of us don't know about vitamin D. I think it's a failure of public health to actually address it and teach us. So I'm going to take this opportunity to try and raise awareness about vitamin D.
I'm just pausing it there. Did you know about the potentials, guys, of what vitamin D deficiency can lead to?
Yeah, I mean, I knew like rickets and osteoporosis and things like that. That's all I knew, like, yeah, bone-related things.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody I think in the background started talking. Yeah. I mean, I kind of had some ideas about vitamin D deficiency can have a lot of different issues, and I've been taking vitamin D supplements for a long time now. I'm not entirely sure, as I said, which ones. This is the problem. It's like, which ones do you really get? Which ones can you trust, though? The only thing I can trust is that little ball of fire in the sky, but we don't get a lot of that over here, so I have to keep taking vacations just to top up some vitamin D.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that he said that it could lead to autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
I've
that
not heard
one
that.
I hadn't heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to it then.
Firstly, vitamin D isn't really even a vitamin. It's actually a hormone. It's something that our body produces that affects the way that our cells function. Now, the most famous function of vitamin D is its effect on calcium. It helps our gut absorb calcium, that thing that's really important for our bones. So being very deficient in vitamin D can lead to painful, bendy, brittle bones, conditions that are known as rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults. But here's what people don't realize. Vitamin D plays a role in almost every cell in our bodies. Look at the muscles, for example. Low levels of vitamin D can make our muscles weak, tired, painful, or even cause them to twitch a little bit. Vitamin D even affects our mood. There are higher rates of depression among people who are vitamin D deficient. It's also essential for our immune system. It's probably part of the reason that we all get sicker in winter. We have less vitamin D, our immune system isn't as strong, and it leads to these problems. But there's also evidence to say the flip, that autoimmune conditions where our immune system is overactive is also more common in vitamin D deficiency. And here's the big one. Vitamin D has a role in helping cells divide. So when we're deficient in it, there is an increased risk of things like diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. So clearly, it's important. But how do you know if you're getting enough?
So he's touched on it being a hormone, not actually a vitamin, right? But there was a few things that, like, he said something about immunity. I'm going to make a note of that because I want to look further into that because I'm not convinced on the virus argument. You know, that there's evidence that viruses exist. I think I might have had this conversation with you before, Banksy.
Okay, yeah. He's coming from a position of science
Yeah.
and evidence, and I guess you're coming from some other position. So, so
You put that
that's
so
why there's a,
nicely.
so maybe that's why you guys might differ on the whole virus thing. Yeah, yeah.
All right, we'll go back to it. Mute yourself now, right?
Lieutenant, I'll make one
That's
comment
enough.
there though. There's one thing like
Yeah,
you're
go
saying
on.
it's a hormone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I never knew that. I never knew there was. Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, you thought it was just a vitamin that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
take a pill, that you can get it in certain foods, whole foods, without actually needing to supplement and all the rest of it. This because they sell it to you like it's actually a vitamin, but
Yeah.
no, it's a hormone. I mean, I've done a little bit of search engine search. Is D a hormone or a vitamin? And there's some articles there that have come up, like PubMed and stuff like that. So we can look into that. We'll see how far we get discussing this, like just going through this small
There was
video.
another thing. I remember when my dad was sick, the doctor in the hospital, like, because it was something to do with like circulation, heart. I remember he was saying it had something to do with that too, like cardiovascular stuff. I mean, is that true? Have you ever heard that before? Vitamin D can benefit those systems.
Well, it depends on actually. I mean, I don't know, right, whether hormone D has got anything to do with the functioning of the cardiovascular system directly or indirectly. I dare say any deficiency of anything, like where you're lacking something that your body needs, it's going to have a knock on effect all around the body. And so eventually, if not immediately, if not directly, it will have an impact, won't it?
Yeah.
I assume. But like Banksy says, I might not be looking at it from a place of science and evidence.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
No. I was only talking about the viruses. I'm not talking about vitamin D or hormone D. That was.
oh, you
was
don't
not
need
what
the science and the evidence for
Well,
that.
I mean, you would. Yeah, that would be kind of cool to go that way. But you know, I'm not. I don't know enough about the cons. You know, this whole thing about vitamin or the D hormone, whether we can actually take it in a pill. Essentially, I mean, I think this what you guys are saying is, can we just take a pill for this, or is it more than just taking a pill? We need actually, you know, food and dietary supplements rather than just a pill every day. Because I literally take a pill. I'm not joking. I just buy pills of that vitamin D and I just pop one of those.
Would autoimmune diseases be things like arthritis or like like thyroid issues?
It could be even hay fever and various other because hay fever is an autoimmune response.
Yeah, my medical knowledge isn't great.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, when I started getting hay, because I never had hay fever in my life until I started getting hay fever in my 30s.
Yeah.
I talked to my doctor, and he says, yeah, but basically your body thinks that the pollens are viruses, so it essentially gives you the cold symptoms in order to eject those viruses. So you get, you know, runny eyes, you get sore throat, you get sneezing and coughing. All the symptoms essentially what you get when you have a cold, because your body's trying to eject this foreign object. It's an autoimmune response to pollen or cat. In fact, I have cat. I'm now also allergic to cats because there's something in cat fur and some dogs as well, which triggers my autoimmune response.
I think I got an allergy to the grass pollen, and I was a tree. Is it birch tree or beet? I can't remember one of those trees. There's one now. That gets me a bit.
Yeah, allergies are autoimmune responses. Essentially,
okay.
your body is reacting to this thing that it sees as foreign, and it detects it as some sort of virus. Well, I mean, if viruses existed, of course, those illusionary things called viruses. I don't want to come across as a antiviral bigot or something. Viral phobia.
I think I've got viral trauma now, just like that, Islamic trauma. But yeah, so right, okay. So there's a lot of interesting ways that this can go. Just starting from vitamin D, I'm now thinking, right, I'm going to have to look into viruses. I'm going to have to look into immunity. I'm going to have to look into autoimmune diseases. When it comes down to allergies, I thought that was something to do with the histamines or something.
Yeah, you take antihistamines, don't you? Is that right? To treat it, or
Well,
or-
my understanding of antihistamines are they're suppressants, essentially.
yeah,
They'll suppress your body's autoimmune reaction to hay fever, for example. They're not actually terribly good for you on a regular basis, although, we all, sometimes during summertime, I take Benadryl like Smarties. But yeah, they're not really actually good for you to be taking on a regular basis. But yeah, that is what they do. They suppress your body's reactions, which sort of gives you a little bit of relief.
Now where have I heard something in one of these videos about carnivore and stuff like that, where they talk about certain organ meats, in particular, I think it's kidney, that prevents and can turn it back like an allergy if you consume those kinds of meats. So that's why you can now get freeze dried kidneys in a capsule, freeze dried lamb's liver in a capsule, freeze dried liver and heart in a capsule, like very good quality, high grade. Because if you can't stomach consuming the organ meats yourself, you can take them like that and it can roll things back. So, isn't it just a deficiency in something that's in those particular animal products as opposed to an autoimmune response?
Well, I can tell you that Michaela what's it,
Peterson,
Peterson, she just recently released actually a video on the fact that after 8 years of being on the hardcore carnivore diet, she has now started to introduce other foods in her diet because
yes.
she feels she's in remission now. So maybe there's definitely something there for sure.
Yeah, I watched that video and I shared it as well. I think I've shared it on my community posts bit. It's very good news because she didn't want to do lion diet forever, but she certainly didn't expect to be on it as long as 8 years. But thankfully, she's now coming out of it because she was feeling a bit trapped with that. But that's
Yeah.
another topic. Let's get back to uh, vitamin
Well, when you
D.
mentioned carnivore, I thought that might be that kind of slipped right in with that. But
Yes,
as
yes.
far as liver and kidneys, now I'm not a fan of kidneys. Kidneys are a little bit tough and not great. But I've had liver, like chicken liver or just liver, barbecued liver, pretty much most of my childhood.
Yeah.
Because we Iranians, we eat like everything on a sheep, and I've never had, like, I think some people have like a bit of a repulse sort of reaction to liver and kidneys and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for me it's been great.
yeah.
Although
Basically, we used to
British,
eat,
you
like,
got. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
No, we used to eat fried, like, my dad, we did like a fry up, right? Like, traditional fry up, right? Yeah, we'd have fried kidney, fried liver.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in British food, steak and kidney pies were a very common thing. Although I actually
That's what I
don't
was going
see
to
them as
say.
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, steak and kidney was a massive seller when my mom had a fish and chip shop back in the day. So you guys used to eat, you know, these things regularly. I think we've our diets have become worse by, this is the irony. Someone like Mr. Piers Morgan, who says, "Oh, I love my curries. The food in Britain has become so much better with immigration," but actually, in your curries, you don't have steak tikka masalas. Well, you can have meat, but you don't have liver and kidney tikka masalas anymore. You guys, everybody's eating all these like Thai and Chinese and Indian food, but you're not eating your own traditional food, which actually included steaks, kidneys and livers and hearts and all sorts of
Well, the
other.
thing is, we're not eating foods that grow here naturally and therefore are not for what our
Mm,
bodies need, right? And therefore, we have this malnutrition, this nutritional imbalance, and all these deficiencies, which is leading to type 2 diabetes, obesity, and all the rest of it, right? So it really hasn't been good for us to
Yeah,
bring all
like
these different cuisines
burgers
in.
and
As much as I
pizzas.
love them,
Yeah, burgers and pizzas simply. I mean, if you look at what is inside, I mean, your average big burger joints, the meat is virtually non-existent, as thin as wafer, and the rest is just bread and lettuce. Essentially, is what you're filling up on. Then if you buy a decent burger, like from one of these posher chains, you might get a decent piece of meat in it. But how often are you really going to do that? Most people are not going to shell out 20 quid for a burger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pizza, I'll be honest, pizza is exceedingly low in nutrition. People
oh
don't
yes,
realize how terrible a pizza actually is, because it's essentially cheese on toast with a few bits on it. That's really what a pizza is. It's just cheese on toast. But it's just it's just great marketing from the Italians to make it out as if it's something so much more fabulous.
I never feel well when eating a pizza. I always feel
it's
like
very, very
indigestion,
bad for
heartburn.
you.
Yeah, I feel sick of it. Yeah, I never feel well
Yeah.
eating one.
Yeah, because
because
it's predominantly refined carbs. That's what the flour
it's
is,
bread.
and then
Yeah.
you've got some pretty low grade cheese on there. Then you've got tomatoes, which are nightshades, which also are full of toxins. As delicious as they are, it's a slow creep and attack against your gut lining. And then whatever else you put on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what I mean is everything else. If you actually look at your average pizza, unless you're getting an absolute just meat feast, which is no other vegetables, just nothing but meat, which you may get a morsel of, to be honest, pretty. Because I used to own a pizza shop, so I know what
nice.
goes in those.
Wow.
And you're getting a lot of crappy processed meat. Now, I never used to buy processed chicken. I cooked my own chicken and used actual chicken breast. But everything else, your salami, your pepperoni, your ham, what other meats are there? Sometimes ground beef. Admittedly, we made our own ground beef as well. But most of the other meats on a pizza is processed crap meat. It's not good meat. You're not getting chunks of steak on prime rib steak on a pizza. You're getting the worst, crappiest, sloppy meat possible. The ham, oh my God, you don't want to know what the ham comes from. If I tell you how the ham is made, this is one of those moments where you don't want to meet the cow because you want to eat the burger. Half the stuff on a pizza is terrible stuff. So as I say, if you're a regular pizza eater, you're not getting much nutrition. You're actually malnutrition.
Just
You're-
like
you're-
heartburn, basically, and indigestion. He's horrible. I never felt well ever eating one. Ever.
I mean, on a regular basis, if you're doing it once in a while, that's fine. But if that's your staple, because I don't know if you guys remember, there was a show called Super Size, not a show, a film, a documentary film, Super Size Me, and it was all about McDonald's.
Yeah, I remember that.
But the guy in that show, in that documentary, said, I know friends of mine who eat their 3 meals a day comes from from outside takeaway foods. They're either even eating a takeaway of like a McDonald's breakfast for breakfast. They're having some kind of burger or sandwich for dinner, for lunch, and then order a pizza or Chinese for dinner time. Mostly pizza, or some variant of that, or KFC, and all of these things. You're just eating fast food 3 times a day, every day, and they are. Be honest, these are terrible things for you. These are treats. These are things you should eat once, maybe a week, once a month, to be honest.
Well, I think, we're associating the wrong word there, because you're putting treat with something unhealthy.
Well,
But yeah.
you know what I'm
Pizza's
saying? I'm
not
saying
good.
something that is rare, but it's like a treat. I mean, cakes and sweets and things. People used to consider those as treats, but we pretty much eat them all day, every day now. But those are treats which you do on a rare occasion. And if you want to, have a Big Mac once a month, if you really fancy it, great. Don't get me wrong, I'm addicted to this crap. I love I was raised on Big Macs. I was raised on McDonald's. I'm not even remotely. My mum adores McDonald's. She absolutely adores it. When our feet hit the ground in this country, the first meal was a McDonald's. The very first meal in Britain was a McDonald's, and it's been a constant, meal source for us throughout most of my life. So I'm not saying I'm not saying this as someone who doesn't eat it. I love the shit, but I know what it is,
Yeah.
and I know how terrible it is.
Yeah.
Banksy Lieutenant and that thing, the super size. I can remember it. I think he had, from what I remember, it was like 9 Big Macs. He had, was that
Well, No, this was another guy who was addicted to Big Macs. Although he wasn't very, I think he was in the show. But this guy himself, the main documentary maker, the premise was he would eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for I forgot how long, a couple of months
was it
or
a
something.
month? Was it 1 month?
Yeah, it was like a month or so. And but every time the trick was every time the person serving him asked, "Would you like to supersize that?" He has to say yes. He can't refuse a supersize offer. So that's why the film was called Supersize
But
Me.
didn't he put on, like, what was it? It was nearly 2 stone in the month.
Yeah,
Putting
and he
weight,
started
right?
having major health issues.
Yeah, like liver damage and thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had to get a full medical check
That's
before the documentary, and then he had to check him have a full medical check after. And yes, he was starting to have fatty liver. He's starting to have kidneys and other sort of. It was like a starting stage. It wasn't like he was into it, but the checks showed that yes, he's starting to get all of these things. So if he continued for long periods of time, he would have major health issues.
So fatty liver, as far as I know, fatty liver, fatty pancreas, any of your organs that are storing fat in the tissue on the inside of your organs is not designed to store fat. So if you're storing fat in there, it leads to type 2 diabetes, as far as I know, and that comes from consuming too much carbs and sugars, because your body, it's got too much of that going in, so it goes into an emergency mode and stores it as fat. And if it's not storing it as visceral fat around your belly, which would be more beneficial because at least it's not going on the inside of your organs, if it's not going to store there, then it'll store it on the inside of the internal organs, and that's when a whole host of serious health problems, terminal health problems, can come in. So yeah, that's serious stuff. It's reversible, but like on the mind, on the psyche, it's not easy to come out of that, because it's like a perpetual dopamine hit chasing thing as well. Because you get that high from the sugar rush, when you consume the carbs. Oh, you feel so good, and then you drop. So you need more, and then you drop. And it's just, it spirals out of control. It becomes an addiction, very, very quickly.
Smooth moderator.